This episode of The Young Turks is brought to you by GoDaddy.com.
An editorial, or actually a piece that was written by Amy Chow in the Wall Street Journal. And she's a Yale professor who is a huge advocate for something that she calls the Chinese parenting experience. So
the good old CPE, yeah. Yeah.
So her entire piece is dedicated to talking about how Chinese parents, and she uses these terms very loosely because she acknowledges that, some Chinese parents are like this, there are some Armenian parents like this, there are parents all over the world that are like this. But she says that the Chinese raise their children in a better way than Westerners.
Oh, damn, that's an instant controversy.
In fact, the title of her piece is...
That's the title of her piece.
No. The title of her piece is Why Chinese Mothers Are Superior.
Oh, damn. No, she didn't.
She did.
Okay.
So, of course, this is a controversial piece, and I want to talk to you guys about what she says in it. So she says that she has two daughters, Sophia and Louisa, and she's extremely strict with them. So, and she lays down a list of rules, right, that she has instilled. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you what they are. They are never allowed to attend a sleepover, have a play date, be in a school play, complain about not being in a school play, watch TV or play computer games, choose their own extracurricular activities, get any grade less than an A, not be the #1 student in every subject except gym or drama.
Oh, I love the exception. She's like, gym or drama. Come on, who needs that crap?
They're also not allowed to play any instrument other than the piano or violin.
Oh, so needless. So, by the way, I can tell you from ours, it's so Chinese. Okay, but there's no need for it. What's wrong with other instruments?
Right. Like, what about the cello? Is the cello okay?
Out, gone. No, but you know what she's saying. In reality, she's saying, I don't want any guitar, drums nonsense. You're not going to be like with the Whiteys with their rock and roll music. Violin or piano. Okay, keep going. What else?
They're also not allowed to not play the piano or violin.
Oh, they're not allowed. So they have to play it. Okay. Yeah. That's absurd. Okay, now look, obviously some of this makes sense, and some of it, and you're going to be saying, really? Obviously? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it does.
Some of it does make sense, and I'll explain why. Okay?
Right. But some of it is crazy. So they're not allowed to watch any TV.
No TV.
No games.
No
nothing.
Games. No computer games. No TV. No play dates. And
yeah, God forbid that you should socialize.
Right.
Okay, these kids will be wearing SARS masks soon.
So these kids need to focus on their academics and nothing else.
Okay.
Academics, piano, violin, done.
Done.
That's your life.
Okay.
All right. So she tries to explain why she believes Chinese parents are better at parenting than Westerners.
Okay, she's already wrong, but go ahead.
Okay. She says that Chinese parents are unconcerned with self-esteem, right? Mm-hmm. So she feels that Westerners like to, basically stroke their children's ego, try to make them feel good about themselves, not hurt their feelings too much, whereas Chinese parents are like, screw it, we don't care about your self-esteem, we expect the best from you, and you must perform.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Another reason why she thinks Chinese parents are better is because Chinese parents believe their kids owe them the world. Okay.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
So this is what she says. She says that the reasons for this are a little unclear, but then she shares her theory behind it. So she says that she believes that Chinese parents feel that they worked really hard for their kids. They basically gave up everything to raise their kids. So their children are expected to respect them by being amazing in everything. Right. In school, in violin, in piano, and that's pretty much it.
Right. And by the way, look, she's saying Chinese, but I think actually she's talking more specifically about Chinese Americans, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of Chinese sitting in a village in the middle of China that don't demand that you play the piano and the violin, right? These are people who are already overachievers who came here to the U.S., who gave up so much to achieve so much, and give their kids so much. I think that's a lot of what she's referring to.
And also, as I mentioned before, she uses Chinese parenting, that phrase, very loosely. Okay?
Right. All right. Now, look, let me get to it, okay? So here are the things that I agree and disagree with. I agree on the expectations. You know me, that's my thing. I'm going to demand the very best, right? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to micromanage, but I could be wrong because,
of course, Shank's not going to micromanage.
No. Because look, for me, the homework, like, that's your business, not my business. I'm not going to spend all night doing your homework. It's your job to get the A. I don't care how you get it, right? I think, who knows, I could be wrong, right? So I love the high expectations, right? But if you don't allow for play dates, etc., your kids don't know how to socialize with people. And I got news for you. So knowing how to socialize with other people are just as important, if not more important, in the business world, in success, in everything, as all the other academic. Oh, but I had an A+ on biology and chemistry. All right, that's fantastic, but nobody wants to hang out with you. They're not going to hire you, et cetera, et cetera. It's not just that you have lower quality of life, you're going to have lower success. So she's wrong, okay? Now, at the same time, if you had this if you had a more balanced approach, where you expect better of the kids, look, I think that you can get to somewhere that's good, And look, for me, what's interesting and different is that in Turkish parenting, for some reason, you would think that it was very similar, and it is in a lot of ways, but it got switched, and kids in Turkey think their parents owe them everything. Right? And let me tell you something. That leads to disastrous results. It leads to lazy kids who are like, whoa, I ain't got nothing, man. My parents, they shouldn't have had me then. They owe me everything, right? I'm telling you, I don't know why, but it's my opinion, there's a whole generation of Turks that think like that, and it's terrible. So I get her motivation, right?
Right.
But at the same time, some degree of balance, for the love of God.
She lacks any and all balance, okay? She
Right.
takes it too far. And speaking from personal experience, a lot of her parenting methods were, used by my own mother, right? And I think all of her positive parenting methods were used by my mother. For instance, she talks about how you should not allow your child to give up. Doesn't matter how bad they are at something, doesn't matter how much they hate it, right? Kids are not going to enjoy something until they're good at it, and in order to get good at something, it takes hard work. And that's what my mom did with me when it came to dance, right? In the first couple years of dance, I despised it. I couldn't do the splits, and I was put in the back during one dance.
Oh,
one
no.
choreography.
Drama.
But you know what? Did that ruin my self-esteem? For like 2 seconds, and then I decided, no, screw all these other kids. I'm going to do the splits better than them. And I did.
Well, self-esteem is a tricky thing, because I want my kids to think that they can do anything, right? And that they're good enough. At the same time, I don't want to pamper them with self-esteem. Oh my God, it's your self-esteem, okay.
Right.
No. They got to earn the self-esteem, right? So I see you there.
Yeah, if I can jump in for a second. Yes, she's a lunatic. She takes it way, way too far. But she actually has a kind of interesting take on it. She said Western parents believe that their child doesn't have self-esteem and they must build it and give it to them, right? And by stroking their ego, giving them false praise, you don't want anyone to feel bad about themselves. In soccer games, everyone gets a trophy, not just the team that wins. All that nonsense. And she says that the Chinese parents, they believe that their kids have self-esteem, so they can say things like, "Hey, fatty, you're looking too fat. Lose some weight. Hey, you're being lazy. Work harder. There's no reason for you to not get that A." Look, again, she takes it too far, but there's something to be said about that, about having the high expectations and cracking the whip a little bit and not coddling your child.
Look,
what
I'm
we all
not
can
even
do.
saying you got to hit it right in the middle, right? That's not what I mean by balance, right? You can be tilted toward the more, tougher type. But don't say, "Hey, fatty." I mean, you're gonna.
I agree.
You're gonna mess the kid up, right?
No, I agree with him.
They're two extremes, right? On the other hand, if my kid comes to me and says, "Daddy, I lost the game. Do I get a trophy anyway?" I would say, "Hell no!" Okay, no, you go win the game, then we're going to talk about trophies. You go win the league, we talk about trophies. Okay, look, it's not like the end of the world if you lose, but you don't get rewarded for it. That's just not how the world works. She's being dumb in one respect, right? The piano and the violin, well, that's your bias, right? She thinks piano and violin are lovely, and she's imposing that on the kids. But in reality, in order for them to really excel, it has to be something they love, right? And if they're into it, then they'll work really hard, right? If they're not, they won't, right? So you have to let the kids find out. This is like, again, to use the example of Turkey, they do exams. If you score really well, you go into business. If you don't do well, you go into sociology. It's crazy, right? No, you have to be able to pick your own major, because then that'll help you to excel in that major, right? But if you force them into certain instruments or certain things they must do, well, you're not helping them, you're hurting them. And again, if your goal is for them to succeed, you're doing them a disservice. Did you know you can pay 30% less if you go to theyoungturks.com/GoDaddy. Everybody knows this is where you go to get your domain name registered, and they have 24/7 support, and they've got 30 free new applications that you can get from them.
Right, and these applications help you to manage your domain name. And what I love is they have an iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry app.
Oh, damn.